Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Graciously Me. It is Friday night, and this is your girl, Jamila Scott. I am your host for this evening, and I just want to say today has been a beautiful, wonderful weather day here in Virginia. I don't know where you are watching from today, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And I am looking forward to so many more pretty, gorgeous, beautiful days like today. But we are here in the conversation room tonight, and I am so glad to have you. When you come in, say hello. So I know that you are here, along with being the host of Conversations with Graciously Me. I want to let you know we have a women's empowerment group. And that group is called Graciously Me. It's on Facebook. So if you're looking for a group of women, and this is for women only, if you're looking for a women's only group to come in, we talk about everything. We talk about hair. We talk about style. We talk about what's going on in the everyday lives of the women. We talk about business. We talk about goals. So it is just a great group. We really surround ourselves together with love and connect with each other. So if you're looking for something like that, head on over to Facebook and join Graciously Me. Also, if you're not watching tonight on Facebook, you can also watch on YouTube. So on YouTube, type in Jamila Scott. It's shown right there at the bottom. And it will come up. You can watch it from YouTube. You can go back and watch past replays, past broadcasts. You can do all of that. So subscribe when you get over there. Tonight, we are talking about interior design. And guys, if you all didn't know before, interior design was my love. I love interior design. That was one of my first businesses, and it was called House to Home Interior Decorating. I think I did some of everything. I put up wallpaper, I painted, I put up backsplash. I did it all until I had to hire people to do those things. But interior design has always been my heart. I believe in having a space that represents you. So tonight, when Denise Hart said she would come on, when I tell you this lady is awesome in so many ways, this is just one of the areas that she shines as well. But talking about customizing your home and doing it on a budget, she is the one. And when I saw her, I've been watching her, I've seen her designs, and I have fallen in love with everything that she has done. And so when she said that she would come on tonight, I was so excited. And you all should be too, because having a home that represents you is what you want to come home to. You work all day or you work from home, and you want to have a space that represents you. So without further ado, I want to bring into the conversation room Miss Denise Hart. Welcome.
Hey everybody.
Hello. Y'all just take a look now.
You did not tell me that you had that kind of, I'm like blown back here, like, yes.
Yes, I love design. And so makeup and everything else is not too far from, it's all creativity. But that was when the housing boom happened, I was house after house. And I would go back and I would, hello, we got a viewer, Kimberly, hello. I would go back and I would look at the houses, because before I went in there, I'm like, okay, give me a vision, give me, help me, And so I would walk back in the houses and I would be like, wow, I did that.
I got that. I totally relate. I do the same thing, like, wow.
Yes, I mean, it's a total, you look at it and it's just unbelievable. But introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, I mean, short and sweet, right? I'm a sister girl who loves pretty much all things creativity. Okay, creativity just really oozes from me. I've been a visual artist for many years. I had a career in the theater. I've been on television. I was an actress on HBO's The Wire. All of these things are about creativity, but it's a really kind of interesting way that I sort of made my way back to interior design. When I originally went to college, I thought I would study set design, again, like interior, for theater. Well, they
Right.
didn't have that major. So I ended up studying acting and writing, all creative. And I said often I would revisit my love of doing rooms and doing design when I got, quote, older. Well, we all know time doesn't stop for anyone. And I thought, girl, what older are you waiting on? you better get to getting. And I had been kind of undercover, secret, quote unquote, doing it for people for 30 years, itching to do it. In fact, like, oh, you want me to, organize your closet?
Yes.
And so I'm a girl from Omaha, Nebraska, born and raised. I used to say I'm from Old Town, and people would say Oakland. I say no, Omaha.
I know that's right.
And I love it. I'm like you. I love making a space into what I call a destination people will love. Two things. Either you don't want to leave your space, or you can't wait to get back to it.
Yes, indeed. That's right up my alley right there. And then to be able to have it your own and be able to know a little bit about how to do that. Because some people, they walk into other spaces and they love it, but they just don't know how to bring that all together for them.
Right.
And it can be challenging, especially if you're walking in, say, a furniture store. They have everything seemingly all packaged together, and you
exactly, right.
And you're trying to figure out how to break the mold. So.
Yeah, I often tell people you don't want to, because I've had clients say to me, "I just want to walk in there and buy the room." I said, "No. You don't want to buy the room. You want to build and layer a room with things you love."
Yes.
You don't want to buy the room. That's to show you the sofa how it might exist. Right? And so when I put it that way, they go, oh, okay.
It makes sense then, right?
Yes.
So you said you've been kind of secretly doing this for about 30 years. So what was your first little order?
So way back when I really did put my toe in the water, my very first business, because I'm a serial entrepreneur, my first business was called Strictly Kids Decorating. Wow. And so I used to paint murals on the walls of, like, the baby's room or the toddler's room, like the underwater sea thing. And then I would, help with the decor and so on and so forth. But I really started out, because I've been a visual artist a long time, painting murals. And then I segued from there, and somebody was moving into a new house, and they say, I volunteer. You want some help? Next thing you know, I'm like, you need to know that's in the wrong spot. Move this here. And they would just be like, do you go ahead.
Right.
And love it afterwards. And I specialize in really helping people understand what their color story is and how to mix patterns confidently and comfortably. And also sort of merging what I call legacy people. Some people say those are antiques, so they're old. I said, no, that's legacy. Those are legacy furniture, right? They got wisdom and history and love, in those pieces. How do you merge or blend that sort of legacy piece with new stuff, contemporary stuff?
Right, because I'm loving your background. And I think that some people would have never thought, the background is sort of neutral, but it has its own thing going. But then you bring in the color and it doesn't fight, it doesn't compete. It just looks like it should be there. And so most of the times you wouldn't think that those two patterns would go well together. But I don't want to jump ahead, because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about putting patterns together. We're not going to hopefully miss anything that we can within this hour. But you have a method that you use, that you go by when you walk into a space. And so, Lord, don't let me butcher it. We just talked about it.
I'll say it.
Okay.
It's the Furaha method. Furaha. I like people to go Furaha.
Yes.
It really is. It's about joyful design, because Furaha means joyful in Swahili. And so I wanted, my middle name is Joy. I go by Denise Joy. And I jokingly, when I used to be a national speaker working with like Lisa Nichols, Steve Harvey, all these people, I used to say I have joy in the middle of my heart. My parents really did a number on me, right? Because my last name is Hart, my middle name is Joy. So I wanted something that really reflected the deep recesses of my personality. I default to joy. You know, I want people to feel and experience that when they're around me. And I understand what a significant difference it makes when someone is in a space and they can feel the love and the joy in the room. And so the Faraha method is really all about a holistic creative approach to helping our clients create a joyful, custom on a budget space. And it's a meaningful mashup of physical beauty, functionality, and it enhances their overall wellness. We want that room to actually make you feel really good.
Wow. Wow. So that in itself is awesome because, you know, when I was back trying to figure out some things with interior design, I don't know if you remember him, but it was a guy that used to come on. His name was Christopher Lowe. Now, this is a long time ago.
Yeah. You went way back. Yes. I used to like him.
Yes. And I'm telling you, I used to study him all the time. And he used to talk about layering a room. What do you put in the room? How do you make it? And so your method brings in more of that soul, of that, you know, your energy that you're bringing in. And that's what makes your method so awesome. It's not just step 1, step 2, step 3.
We get to that.
Right.
We do get to that. But I fundamentally believe and know that a space ought to enrich from the inside. Again, it should be a space that you don't want to leave, or you can't wait to get back to it because it does something. It nurtures you, it holds you, it cradles you, it fills your cup.
Yes. That's amazing. And it's so glad to know. I'm glad to know that you don't have to do that and spend money out of your budget. I mean, you can do that.
You don't have to blow the bank. You don't have to blow the bank. No. Now, if you want to blow the bank, because you know, you can, but you don't always have to.
Right. I just want everyone to know that you're not excluded if you don't have a certain budget. You're not excluded.
No. Listen, let me tell you a quick little story. So when I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. In fact, you know, we really was on the poor side. And so what that looked like for us is from the time I was born till I was 17, I lived in 13 different homes. We had to move all the time. And so that meant that I got really good at fixing the room up and taking it back down, right? 13 times between the age of born and 17. And so I got also really good at figuring out very creative ways to take a little and make it feel really good to me. Because as you can imagine, sort of the trauma of moving all the time, I needed the space to nurture me when I got to the next space. I mean, I would take things like pillows, and I had a little sewing machine my grandmother had. And so I would stitch things. I would quilt something real quick and make it feel special. And every person deserves either a special corner, a special room, or a whole special house. Now that I've matured and I built my own life, I'm on my 3rd special house that I bought, paid for, and, you know, had the chance to gut and decorate. So I feel very blessed and fortunate to go out in the world and be motivated by my personal story to help other people create their special space.
That's amazing. And the shout out to you. Look, to have 3, to be able to be moving constantly. And then as an adult, be able to settle in 3 different places. I'm telling you, I am so amazed at your story and everything that, you know, you've had an awesome, amazing ride, and you just seem like you're just beginning again. So I'm like, she is doing her thing, and I love it. And so, okay, so we talked about putting our soul into this thing. We need a space, a corner, a room, a house, something that says, this is my area. Where do we start? How do we get started putting this room together?
Absolutely. So I believe the first place you want to start is the function. What is the room going to do? Is the room a home office? Is it a gym? Is it your boudoir bedroom? Is it your sanctuary bathroom? Is it the game room, combination living room, game room, where when folk come over or you and your kids and grandkids, y'all also play games in there, right? What is
Yes.
it, the TV spot, right? We don't really need no other star in the room but the TV, right? So functionality, what is the room going to do? That really begins to set the tone for everything else. But the second most important thing, and you won't be surprised by this, what's the vibe you want in there? What kind of energy you want in that joint? Do you want it serene and subdued? It almost makes you want to go to sleep as soon as you get in there. Do you want it to wake you up? Do you want it to be jolting? Do you want it to scream? Do you want the color tone and the color story to say, yell at the TV because it's game night? You know, you want to decide what's the vibe, what's the energy. Traditional design, we would say, what's the mood? Well, I like to say, what's the vibe, right?
Right.
Because it's
I
really about
love
a
it.
vibration. It's a
Yes.
vibration, yes, in the space. So when you determine the vibe, then you can start on, okay, what colors might deliver that vibe? What colors can I put together? What patterns? What kinds of furniture? What's my style, right? We say design aesthetic. Let's say,
Right.
you know, a modern farmhouse is really huge, you know, big thing now. I think because
Yes.
a lot of people see it on HGTV, they're,
Right.
you know, they're emulating modern farmhouse. Well, I like to think of farmhouses, let's update it a little bit, meaning put your personality in there. I don't want it looking like you came off the showroom floor, you know, of the HGTV. And
Right.
so modern farmhouse has a lot of grays and browns, what we call really a cool neutral palette. Well, you can inject some color into that palette and make it more reflective. Like if you look in your wardrobe and say your favorite colors are really a yellow, orange with some hints of red, figure out a way to add some artwork in that modern farmhouse where you still get that personality zing in there, and it's not looking just like, you know, it came off of HDTV. Although some people
Right.
like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
put some personality in that thing, you
right.
know. Well, let's talk about this really quickly because there are a lot of people who are new at working from home. They haven't always worked from home, but because of the pandemic, they've had to pivot. And so now they're at home. And I heard you say something about colors and if it's cool or if it's warm, how different colors affect a room. So if you were to give a suggestion to someone right now that's saying, hey, I need my own corner, I need my own space, I'm working from home, I don't want to be distracted, but what would you put together a little room for us
Sure.
for working from home?
Absolutely. Now, I had a colleague comment on a Facebook post, and she said she was sick of seeing rooms that were all four walls with the home office because she said she got these unusual corners and she just needed, you know. So what I want to suggest is, first of all, you can really make a home office space out of any little corner, any space. You can create it, you know, a space under the stairs. You can really carve that out and make it creative. If your work is heavy on the logic side, meaning you have a lot of left brain activities, I would suggest that you create more stimulation around your environment. So you might do a fun, funky accent wall with some unusual wallpaper, some type of patterning on it, because you want your eye and your creativity to be stimulated.
Mm.
Logic or left brain folk who do work in that realm, you know, most of the time when we went to the office walls are painted white if you can't
Yeah.
customize it. And that's why people often they're out taking breaks because they're trying to wake themselves up. They're trying to generate that
Right.
energy and get themselves going. So you might want to consider putting things in your office space that have a little zing to it. That when you look up, you're like, oh, that's interesting, because it wakes you up. It makes you get your attention. It shakes you up. On the flip side, I'm a very creative person. So actually, now this is my studio. This is my YouTube studio that I'm here because I like a setting. But
Right.
in my actual office, it's more subdued because I'm highly creatively agitated most of the time, having to think on my right brain. So I don't want a lot of fabrics or, you know, busier patterns or bright. My office space is actually cooler tones. It's grays and some browns. And really, it's on the very neutral, cool side because I'm here at my computer screen or either working on materials, and I'm using my creative aptitude at a very high level, which can fatigue you, it can tire you out. So you really want to understand, are you left brain or are you right brain? Because that's going to affect, or does your work require left brain, right brain? It's going to affect how you lay out your space. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. And it makes so much sense. I never thought about that. I would have thought if you're doing a creative job that you would want all this creative stuff around you, but I never thought that you'd be overstimulated.
Right.
You have so much going on.
Right.
You got a lot going on in your mind and you're doing a lot and you're looking at a lot. So that makes total sense.
Right.
Total sense.
Now I have a peg board where I can pull up samples for a current project and peg them up because I want to only see what's the project in front of me and then be, get creative more. But no, it would be total overstimulation.
Yes, it would be chaotic. And that is so true. So yes, that definitely answered my question, because if you're working spreadsheets all day and
let me say one more thing about the home office too.
Yes,
make sure that you have adequate lighting. All right. If you can be in front of a window or near a window, that's marvelous. But you don't rely on that for all your lighting. Make sure you have good task lighting, because at the end of the day, you're there to do work and do a job. Make sure you have, these aren't the blue glasses, but those blue glasses, because you're looking at the screen a long time. And I'd say also if you can put something soft, so that you don't have a lot of hard, our screens are square and they're hard angles and everything's hard. Put something soft, because it's lovely for the eye to rest on something that's material. If you can even put something furry, so the eye can relax, right? Because those things relax us. So that if I knew that I had that to my left, I say, oh, I need a break to relax. I would look at that and take a quick relaxation moment just by looking at that material in my space, and then come back to my hard surface for my screen.
Wow. So everything really does play a part. It's not just
everything.
And you are in my business, because I was going to ask about lighting, and I still am.
Okay.
But you are definitely right. It's all different types of lighting, and the lighting definitely makes a difference depending on what type of vibe you're trying to get in the room and what you need it for. So we're going to talk about that as well. But you're definitely right. When you're working, you want to have the right light. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be struggling the whole time. So in a design element, if we decide that we're going to choose, say, a living area or a living room, where, I'll stick with that because I could be all over the place. So we're going to stick with the family room where everybody comes in. In the design, is there one thing that we should invest in more than the other? If we're working with a budget, we say this is our budget.
The sofa.
Okay.
The sofa.
Sofa.
A family room. Listen, that sofa is going to get the wear and tear of its life, right? Yeah. Whether you live there by yourself, for the most part, and you have friends and family over during the holidays, or if you have a whole family, you and kids and grandkids, the sofa is the item that you really want to invest your money in. You want that sofa to withstand, right, the wear and tear of people falling asleep after Thanksgiving dinner and lounging out on it, or just in general, being on the sofa. So you want to have a performance quality fabric, because it's going to stand up to, again, that just constant use. And you want to have something that's well made. So if you were going to go, for example, I would never purchase a sofa from, say, Overstock or Wayfair. I would steer people. Accent chairs, yes. Bookcases and things that perhaps, yes. But a sofa, I would suggest spend some pretty good money. Now, we have what we call entry level, mid-tier, and then true custom, where you're like paying big money. So I would suggest folks go in the mid-tier, and you can Google these for your area, because not every area has the same stores. But for example, on the East Coast, at least in the Washington, D.C. area, a good mid-tier where you could get a very well-made sofa and then customize the fabrics would be something like Room and Board, that or maybe Pottery Barn. Okay, that's mid level. But remember, you're gonna be wearing that sofa out. You
Yes.
don't want to order a sofa that's from an online retailer, and honestly, much of it is glued together. And over time, you're like, "Oh, this corner feeling a little squishy," and then bam, you hit the floor because
Right.
it's just not built or designed to take that kind of wear and tear, or over time. I love Room and Board. I've gotten many pieces from there. I think they're one of the best at mid level.
I'll have to check them out because I haven't heard of them before. So I'll have to definitely
Yeah,
check them
yeah. I
out.
mean, there are others. I would even go to Ashley Furniture is the Ashley Home Store. That's that's right about entry level, but they make good quality sofas, and so we're talking about the piece to invest in. And you want to
Right.
spend anywhere from about $3,000 to maybe even $4,500. That sofa's going to last a long time.
Yes. Yes,
A long
indeed.
time. And
So
when you
if it
think
was
about
a
it like that, if
bedroom,
you say cost per week, you
right?
end up around a couple of dollars a week, really, over time for the
Yes,
lifetime of the sofa.
that's so true. So if it was a bedroom, it would be the bed. If it
The
was,
mattress, the,
oh,
the
the bed.
mattress
Okay.
first.
Okay.
You don't want to get the wrong mattress, y'all, because the mattress, whatever mattress you get, actually is going to dictate. Well, you could verse it, but it will dictate what kind of bed the springs, the platform, or not springs, but what kind of platform you get to actually support. And a lot of times, the mattress they're going to tell you what and what not to do. Most times you don't need a box spring anymore. Like, that's so really old
Right.
school. So you really want to pay attention, because you don't want to end up buying those two things without thinking about how they may or may not work together, the frame and the mattress. Good
Gotcha.
mattress, honey. Woo, can't beat it.
I know that's right. You
Shoot.
spend a lot of time on that thing.
Don't you? Come on.
Yes, indeed. So before we
And
keep moving,
also in the bedroom area, invest in, for example, I love for my room to be dark.
okay.
I'm not a person who can sleep well with light filtering. And so room darkening drapes or shades, make sure that you pay attention to details like that, because the last thing you want is to not think of something like that, because we're doing it ourselves. And then you
Right.
realize, I can't even sleep in this room because there's a light from my neighbor or the street light or whatever, and it's filtering in, and I can't get into that deep REM sleep, that
Yes, that
rejuvenation,
good sleep.
restorative level. So you want to think of things like that. What condition do you need the room to be in to get optimal rest?
Makes sense.
Sound, yeah.
Yes, makes sense. All righty. So tonight, for all who just came in, we are talking about customizing your home on a budget with Denise.
Yes, girl.
Yes, Denise Joy. We have learned so much already. But if you have questions, we are going to answer as many questions as we possibly can. So if you have questions, please put them in the comments, and I'll be sure to be able to get those questions answered. But I just want to say again, thank you so much for being here tonight, because just the information you've given already has helped me. So I know it has helped someone else.
Fantastic.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So get those questions in, everybody, that you have for your decorating or interior design questions. Get them in. All right. So we talked a little bit earlier about mixing patterns, mixing colors. How do you do it? How do you choose and mix colors and patterns when you're decorating the room?
I happen to have a pillow with a pattern on it right here. And this fabric is called iCat. It's centuries old. It originated in Indonesia. But anyway, this is it's a fairly bold, interesting looking pattern here. And it has mostly neutrals, a neutral color scheme with this beautiful turquoise in it, a pop of color here. And so, you might think, could I put this with something like this mud cloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
This mud cloth, you think it wouldn't go together. But actually, we could put these two pieces together in the right space, because we have the neutral, the white, and the neutral white here. And so you always mix a pattern and layer through color. Okay. Now I'm doing this just arbitrary to just show an example. And these also have a similar texture of fabric. You don't have to always, but we're looking for things that are complementary that will make these work well together. The other reason is black and white are always a neutral. Black and white are always considered a neutral in a space. And depending upon what's going on in the room, the energy and the vibe, you can either ramp up a vibe or tone down a color by adding black or white. So since this is a large scale pattern, we could tone this pattern down a little bit by adding that black and white here, because the black and white sort of calms the eye. And the medium size of this pattern here also counteracts the large scale of this pattern. So the eye actually goes, oh, and then, oh, and then, oh, it sort of has a different reaction. But we say, oh, but you know what? I like to say they play nice together.
Yeah.
They play nice together. They invite my eye to be intrigued. Now let's look at one more pattern. Now this pattern is what we call Cuba Cloth.
It's beautiful.
Bold. Oh, it's my favorite. I try to use Cuba Cloth. If I could, I would put Cuba Cloth in everybody's house. I just love it. It's bold. It's geometric. It has a geometric quality.
Yes.
Plus, it has a neutral, because your neutrals are always going to be white, brown, black, and gray. Those are really just neutrals. Again, so it has a neutral. It has a tiny bit, a hint of orange, or kind of a sienna. Burnt orange here is light colored, but we could put this piece with this piece. Now this piece has a velveteen and it has a pattern on it, but the pattern is really small. It's almost maybe like a half-inch size little squares all over it. And it has a hint of a mustard yellow. You can't probably quite see it. I don't know if you can see it, but we put the small pattern with the large pattern, and then they work well together. You could even flip this. You could put the big pattern in the front, the small pattern in the back. It just depends on how much energy and depth you want in your space. And you could actually put these patterns on almost any colored sofa, red sofa. A lot of people think, but that wouldn't match. Well, my answer to that is, you don't want it to match, you want it to complement. You want things to complement one to the other. Just because you have a red sofa, you don't need red pillows, and then you want to understand like the opposite colors or analogous colors, complementary colors. Now we're getting into the color wheel. But so back to patterns. You want to make sure that you don't have everything having the same scale. Let me show you real quick.
Okay.
Back to our large pattern iCat fabric. And then we have a fairly large geometric. They almost fight with each other because, well, which one should we really look at? The patterns are almost the same size. But if we swap this out and we bring that smaller pattern back, then we can take our time and enjoy this one and then enjoy this one and then go back to this one versus too much conflict between the both of them. So
they're not fighting.
They're not fighting. They playing nice together, right? they good with each other. So don't overpower mixing patterns by trying to have scale. The scale means the size of the pattern, the same, all the same. You want to mix it up, and you connect patterns through color. If the colors are analogous, meaning they're near each other, or they're complementary, those colors are typically going to work well together, even though the patterns are totally different.
So it pays off to have a color wheel, is what you're saying. When you
pretty much, or at least remember, right? You go, oh man, you're back in the elementary school. They said the primary colors, the second, right. You go back to that, You go back to that color wheel.
We have a question. So we have a viewer that says, I'm about to get my house painted. I'm not a good decorator, so I'm thinking the same color throughout the house. However, my husband wants to change up the colors in different rooms. What do you say about different colors for different rooms?
Well, to some extent, first of all, thank you for your question and saying, you know what, I know my strengths and weaknesses. I know my wheelhouse. And it's important to reach out and get support, from others and from professionals. And so I would say that having different color rooms can work. However, you want to be mindful that you typically don't want more than 3 different colors really in a home. Not unless you're going for a heavily eclectic style. Heavily eclectic means pretty much anything goes, okay? The reason why is you don't want the vibe and the energy to be in conflict as we flow from one room to the other. We want to feel that there's some cohesiveness, a relationship, some connectivity from one room to the next. So that would be what we call a triad, 3 color scheme. You could go with that. You also want to decide, do you want the walls to be the star of the room, or do you want the furnishings and the decor to be the star of the room? What do I mean by that? So if I had a lovely, lush, gorgeous beige tone on the walls, but then I had a brown, I'm thinking of a bedroom, a brown bed set, and then I had these awesome gold with pops of fuchsia in the comforter and the artwork and everything. Well, now, as you can see, the stage I'm setting, the decor, and it becomes the star of the room. And the walls, although they are luscious and they're beige and they look beautiful, they complement everyone. Now, if I went to my next room, I had the beige in my bedroom. In the next room, I had fire engine red walls. Okay, that's 2 colors. So I know I went from a cool, serene to now I'm lit up. Fire engine red is light, it has a lot of energy and vibrancy. Then I went from that room to I'm going to go with a lime green walled room. Now I'm feeling perhaps quite agitated because I went from a serene, cooler tone with those accents of gold and fuchsia, in the comforter and the other pillows and things, to fire engine red to lime green. I'm like, well, where am I? Not to be funny, but am I at the circus? I'm starting to feel like the environment is a little bit different. So you want to have some complement from cohesiveness in vibe or feeling for each room to work together as a total color palette in the home. I wouldn't do more than 3 different colors, and I would keep those colors in an analogous. Analogous just means on the color wheel, these colors are near each other. So colors opposite each other on the color wheel can complement, but you have to get them in the right tone. So for example, the complementary color of blue is orange. Those colors will always work well together, but they must be in the right tone or shade. Because sometimes if they're just in their stark, purest intensity, they can feel, whoa, that's bold, right? And like it's throwing itself at me. So analogous, choose colors near each other if you're going to go with multiple colors on the color wheel, or do a triad, because those colors will always work because they're in the exact proximity or distance from each other on the color wheel.
Yeah, that's good advice. Great. Because you're going to be fighting somebody, if not with yourself, if you have a million colors in a house. What do you think about bringing those pops of colors, though, in places like the laundry room, a half bath, or...
Listen. Oh my goodness. So I love that you asked me this question, because I just did a laundry room refresh in a 110-year-old row house in Washington, D.C. And they had the laundry room in the in the basement. It had one little tiny window. And so they had picked out a color already until they consulted with me. And I said, how about we do this in sunshine yellow? Because the room was fairly dark, one little window, a little bit of light. They fell in love with their laundry room. I mean, she said, I literally go down there sometimes just to get a jolt of sunshine. It's so alive. And she said, we used to dread coming in this laundry room. She said, now it's like, who's going to do the laundry? Because we get to go into the sunshine room. I mean, it's lovely. It's bright. Yeah. So to your question, absolutely. Turn a room like that's more of a chore space, it's a task chore oriented. Give it a personality, put these funky curtains up in there. I mean, they love it. They literally love it.
I can only imagine. As you explain it, I can see it. Like, that makes sense. That makes folding the clothes and doing the laundry a little
Not
bit
just
better.
gray. Not just gray, right? We don't have to have
Yes.
every room have gray walls.
Yes, yes, not at all, not at all. I guess you can tell with all these colors, like that's not going to work.
Me too, right?
So, what about scale? Because oftentimes I'm in these decorating groups, and people are asking for help. What do you all think about this? What should I do? And I see on the wall a huge wall with these itty bitty pictures on it.
You know, you couldn't ask me a better question for today. I just had a design consultation with someone, and she ended up hiring me, and she had sent me. I always ask for pictures in advance because we're working over Zoom, and I want to know. And so she admitted before I could say, your picture over your sofa is too small. She had already said it, and I said, you're right. She said it's the wrong scale, and I said absolutely. It's the wrong scale. And here's the thing about interior design. I really think of it like back in the day when I was a kid, we used to do puzzles. I don't know if people even do puzzles anymore, right? And each piece had to go in the exact spot for the puzzle to be finished. And I could go, yes. Well, putting a room together is just like a puzzle. And that means that you have to know the size of what should go where, just like a old school puzzle. And you can't put a piece that doesn't go in that spot because the picture won't look right. It won't even work. And so you must do the thing that most homeowners don't want to do, which is measure everything. Yeah. You must know the how wide your sofa is. You must know how tall that wall space is above the sofa from the top of the sofa to the top of the wall, the top of the ceiling. And then you want to put a piece or a number of pieces that give you a full but not too full effect, so that the size and the amount of the artwork counterbalances and complements the mass of the sofa. Otherwise, the sofa looks all big and the wall looks all large and a little piece of. So another thing she had was one of her larger rugs was too small, but it's a massive room, and she bought the biggest rug she could get, and she admitted she already knew. I was like, yes, I want to work with someone like that. She said, I know the rug's too small, but it's just really a hair too small. But even a hair too small is too small. The scale is wrong. And when we look at that room, we're not going to go, ooh, that is so visually pleasing. I want to sit here. What are we going to say? Girl, that rug is too small. Right. That's what my brain is going to say. Right. Then I'm not going to want to be in there all the time because something's off, a little off. Scale is critical. And sometimes even in another quick thing, I was talking to another client who I'm doing we call it e-design. She's in another city. I said, can I have the measurement too? It was just a tiny little corner. And she said, well, I don't think we'll put anything there. And I said, maybe we won't, but I would like the dimension in the event I find something that would be perfect there, then we already have it. Yeah. We've already measured everything in the room just in case. Right. I get it. People are like, oh, I gotta measure. Yep. If you want your stuff to be the right scale, so much that it looks like that finished puzzle, perfect. Like, and people say when you finish the puzzle, that, oh, you did a good job. Yeah. You found every piece, right? Yes. That's exactly like interior design. You want people to go, oh, girl, this room look good. Yes. 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 The scale is just right. Right. You're so right, because you'll walk in and you'll be like, you're not really sure what it could be, but you just know that it's just something's not right. The eye picks it up. The eye can pick those types of things up exactly. So you want to measure, really measure the space. In fact, I was shopping for a side table for a sofa that someone had already purchased. And so I was asking for these, what they thought were meticulous measurements. And I said, well, the last thing we want to do is buy a side table that's taller than the sofa. And on the sofa, you want to kind of reach over and put a drink or something there. If I got to reach up, that's not gonna be a good. That's not gonna be a good look for a good. That'll get old quick. They laughed and they said, okay.
Yes, yes. And it is the part that none of us wants to do. But then if we buy something and it doesn't fit, it doesn't come through the
You gotta
door.
take it back.
Yeah. So,
You got to pay the shipping to return it, or just if you ordered it that way. Yeah,
absolutely.
do a little work on the front end. You'll be much happier. Get that scale right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, oh, everybody that have the little pictures going on, go ahead on, take them down respectfully.
You know, I try to also be very gracious though, because there is a sort of a rule in design of hang a picture at eye level. But
Yeah,
I always say, well, the issue with that is everybody's shorter or taller than each other. So my
exactly.
eye level is going to be different. So I really try to be very gracious. And sometimes you can create what we call a true focal moment by putting an appropriately positioned smaller picture on
True.
a vast wall, but it's intentional.
Right.
Means I want to direct the eye to go over there for a reason, because I
Yes.
want you to see the small picture, but I also want you to see the chair or something underneath it. And it creates a real, what we call a story vignette or a story moment. But if your pictures are just too small and hanging out over the sofa, you wanna reconsider that.
Right. You have to be intentional, is what it sounds
Yes,
like you're saying. And it has to be planned out that way
right.
and for a purpose. So Coretta said, what is a good decor for a kitchen so that it doesn't look like your old school grandma kitchen? Hey,
Okay, who was that?
Coretta.
Coretta, thank you so much for that question. Listen, kitchens, are the hub of the home. And not every kitchen has the contemporary, 10-foot island with pull-up bar stools. Not every kitchen has that, nor does everyone want that. And what I say is, you want to outfit your kitchen in a way that's going to be pleasing to you. So it also depends on what size space you have. Do you prefer bar stools or counter height and bar stools? Well, I remember before I bought my first home, I lived in a ton of apartments. And I had this cutest little wooden counter, butcher block counter,
Yeah.
pretty good size. Well, not really. It was only 50 inches, 65 feet long, 60 inches by about 30. And I had my little four bar stools, and people love to get up there. They always felt like to feel like we at the restaurant, or at the bar.
Right, right.
And so, but I made it funky and I made it work for my style. And I was much younger then. I mean, I can still get on a bar stool, but it was just the vibe I had at the time. So you
Right.
want to decide, what look do you want? And remember the function and what feel, what vibe, what energy are you going for? If you want to have a typical sort of 4-seat eat-in kitchen type of thing, look for durability of the furnishings. If you would, if you had a lot of kids or grandkids, you probably wouldn't get a marble topped anything, because marble can stain easily. So you might just go with something traditional, good quality wood. I happen to love walnut, or if you need to do a blend, a compressed wood type of blend, something a little more less expensive. Go for durability, and make sure that it's a vibe that you're going to really enjoy.
So let me ask this, because so often when you walk in a store or you walk in Penny's or somewhere and they have kitchen curtains, there's fruit, there's
Yeah,
lemons
I
and
think
all.
we're gonna stop doing that.
I don't know, but what can we do? Like, is it
I
okay to bring in maybe what colors are
let
maybe
me
good
let me say
or
this. I think that I happen to love wood blinds. Wood blinds you can get nowadays. This is a real custom tip. You can get wood blinds cut to fit at Lowe's, high
mm,
quality, Levelor, and depending upon the size of your window, they'll cut it specifically, and that's fantastic. You can control light, you can control loss of heat and air, and it can go high end, or it can go just sort of casual. You can really use a wood blind in any space. You can do a cafe curtain, that's where it goes halfway and the top
mm,
part of the window is open or light, and you have the little valance up there. I would do something with a pattern, not fruit, typically perhaps stripes, depending. That's a modern contemporary look. You could do paisley if you wanted to do something to have a little more eclecticism to it. You could do, interesting, I just bought a pair of cafe link curtains. I have a unique size window in my office, and I bought a pair of cafe kitchen curtains, and they have a tan linen, and they have these textured kind of polka dots, but the polka dots have this um textured, like they unraveled the linen and made it almost kind of not furry, but it's unraveled. It looks really kind of Afrocentric and to me,
Okay.
but like of the earth or nature. And I
Right.
said, I'm going to use this in my office here, but something like that would be awesome. So a neutral palette like that, but with some texture to keep the eye moving. Um, yeah, those are some
Okay.
examples.
That sounds awesome. I never thought about stripes, but that I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah.
about it. I'm like, oh, that would be cute.
Yeah.
You know, that would look
Geometric shapes. You could use geometric shapes in the kitchen as well. You know, well selected.
okay. All right. So hopefully that'll help you to not have a kitchen like grandma, but still a kitchen you love, you know, that you don't mind cooking
Well,
in.
you know, grandma has some kind of dope stuff too, though. You know,
Yeah, she did. She did.
that
You kind
stuff's
of want
coming
to
back.
revert.
Some of that stuff's coming back too.
It is. It is. Doesn't it always? And with everything, it always
Always.
comes. And you like, tag, I should have saved that. I should have kept that, you know.
Oh yeah, credenzas from the 70s are so hot right now. Credenzas, the dresser bureaus from the 70s. People are getting those off of Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, wherever, and then painting them in high gloss, putting them in their dining rooms, in their family rooms, because those pieces are that real wood that's going to last forever, but they're updating them, making them modern, say making them monochromatic with like a gray on gray, or you could do any color, but those pieces, don't throw them away.
At all. I tell you, I have been looking for something for my jewelry. So I don't know if you remember the old school plat maps where they used to, it's the thin drawers and it's like a file cabinet, but they're
yeah.
And they used to keep the maps and all of that in there. And I have been trying to find one, and every one I find is like outrageous now. But I said it's skinny. I can pull it out. I can see my jewelry. I can put it.
I mean, that's really the design of when someone customizes a walk-in closet, women or even men, they'll put their watches, ties, and stuff, and that's really what it is. Yeah.
So before you could find one anywhere, but I'm having a hard time. But I'm gonna locate it somewhere. No, we got about 10 minutes, about 8 minutes. Yes, the time is going by so fast. But if anybody has questions, get those questions in, because like I said, we have about 8 to 10 minutes left, because I don't want to hold you. You've been here for almost an hour. You have given us
having a great time.
Good. I hope everybody's been taking notes, because you have been dropping the bombs. This is going to be one where they're going to have to go back and listen to the replay again to get it all in. Now, we were talking about lighting earlier. Let's talk about the different lighting per room, because in some rooms, I guess you want the light. You want. Can we talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. So let's talk about a living room. Okay. So many rooms, not all, have like our overhead light in the center of the room. Not every room is built like that, but for the most part, that light is going to throw light pretty much everywhere. Meaning, when you flip the switch, it'll cover depending upon the size of the fixture, a certain round circumference, but it's not going to reach all the corners, be little pockets of shadow over there. So you really want to have good task lighting, typically on the left and the right side of a corner of a seating area, because someone may sit there and read something, even if you're reading your phone. How many times have you been looking at your phone and you don't have enough light and you realize, I can't see nothing on this phone, right? Even if you're not reading a book. You want to have good task lighting. Means the light is directional so that it is angled in a way, or the reflection is in such a way that a person could read by it. Mm-hmm. You also want to consider having in a living room a triangulation of light. Meaning, if you have a sofa or left and right, then you want another light to make a triangle, right? Left and right on the sofa. Then you want a light over there because that light is all going to work together to throw pools of light and light the whole room.
Mm.
You want to also create ambiance with or mood with the lighting. Now, usually when we turn on that overhead light, it's stark, like woo, kind of glaring. You don't really set a mood. So you want to pay attention also to nowadays the bulbs. You know, back in the day when, at least when I was a kid, you kind of got a bulb and it was just whatever color it was.
Right.
Well, now you can get daylight, right? You can get super white light, or they call them the lumens. That's how much intensity of the light is coming out. And so actually some people can even get sick with a different colored light, you know, so you want to pay attention to that and you kind of have to play around with it. I tend to like the daylight look of the lumens, but you want to create ambiance and you want to make sure that the functionality that you need in the space. In a bedroom, I would caution people not to turn on the overhead light. The bedroom is the sanctuary. It's the transition where you're preparing your mind and your body to receive the restorative energy that we need to be able to move through our day. Have really good bedside lights. And if you have a bureau or a dresser, have a smaller, you know, light, not throwing out a lot of energy, because you want to start to set the tone of the body shifting down to rest and to, you know, to prepare. Now in the daytime, as the morning comes, if you which you hopefully have windows, throw up those shades and let all the light in the room, because you now want to generate the body to get ready and come up, you know, come alive and so on and so forth. Right. If you read from bed, make sure again that you have good intensity of light coming from your bedside table so that you can read or do whatever you want to do while you're getting ready for rest.
Now, speaking of a bedroom, do you recommend a television in the room? No. Okay.
Look at my line. No. Now, here's what I do like to do. I do have I have it right here. This is I call it my tiny TV, my little iPad. And so if I really want to watch something real quick, I'll just pop my iPad in there. But this isn't something that anybody wants to look at all the time, right? Who wants to be looking at this? I might pop that in there and watch something real quick. But no, a couple years ago, I took the TVs out of all the bedrooms in my home. And so now the TV is only in the den and in the living room.
Okay, makes sense.
Because you want to shut that energy off. You know, you want that restorative, regenerative energy in your space. And the television is about agitation, getting you to look at something and stay looking at it. There are lots of tricks the television is doing to, you know, the shows are doing to get you to do that. It's never about being, not unless you're watching the channel with the fire. You know how you can turn into the channel with the fire. Right. That might work. Or the raindrops.
That is so true. That's so true. Because you think about it, you're with your phone all day. Yeah. You're at a computer. You got an iPad. You know. So at some point, I guess you don't want to bring all of that into a space where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah. So I have tried to ask as many questions as I could think of on my own, and the questions that came in. But is there anything before I let you go that, or any other?
How much time do we have?
We have about 3 minutes.
Listen, let me tell you something. I want folks to. There is this. I have a video about this on my YouTube page. There's this awesome custom on a budget hack. The shower curtain wall art hack. Y'all need to try it. It's how to make large or oversized artwork by using a simple fabric shower curtain. I walk you through it step by step. I happened to make the one that I did. I actually did 3 different ones. One I did was $15 and then $20. Awesome. I mean, talk about some custom on a budget. Nobody would even know. They're awesome.
That's a great tip. And I'll be sure in a moment, I'm going to put that information up. Cool. Before I let you go, though, we have a last question. Someone asked, how do you fix your bedroom to make or to get it to come alive? Do you use pictures, art, or colors?
All of them. You use artwork. You use the right color on the walls. You use accent pillows. You don't over clutter the room. That actually works in the opposite. Don't declutter the room. Don't have a lot of extra clutter in the space. You want to pick the colors that are going to set the tone and the energy that you need. That's going to make the room come alive and make it a destination. You'll be like, oh, I can't wait to go to bed at night. Literally, that's how I feel every night. I'll be like, oh, that room is waiting on me, man. Seriously. So the right wall color, the right kind of bedding, linens, the right pillows, the right softness, the right texture, the right pattern. And you have to go through a process to discover that.
Yes, all of it can't be done at one time. Sometimes you have to go in and sit in there and be in a space and live in a space for a little bit.
Meditate on
what you want. Yes, that's so true. So how can we follow you? How can we work with you? I heard you say e-design, so that means we don't have to be in DC.
Yeah, I do e-design. I sure do. I do a certain number of e-design clients. But listen, go to my YouTube channel, Thrifty Fly DIY with Denise Joy. Subscribe. Check out all the goodness I got going over there. I love to say it's the good stuff, no fluff. And you can also always hit me up on Twitter. I'm Denise Joy Hart, and Instagram, Denise Joy Hart, and Facebook, Denise Joy Hart. Check me out in any of those spaces.
All righty.
And if you really want to hit me up right now, email me. Heart of the Sale. Heart. I think you'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes. So it's Heart of the Sale. It's
at Gmail.
Right?
At gmail.com. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. And you guys can go ahead and take a quick screenshot. So did I get it right?
Yes,
gmail.com. All right. So make sure you get a copy of that. You would go ahead and take a quick picture, quick screenshot, so that you know how to get in contact with her. I cannot wait until I get a space for you to get your hands on.
Listen. You and I, listen, you and me, we'd be in some trouble. Good trouble.
Fabulous.
Good trouble.
Yes, I can, with your style though and your designs, I could just say, here, this is what I want, and just walk. You know how some people you like, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like when I come back. But I have just enjoyed everything that I've seen you do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Coretta said, thank you. This was so helpful. So I'm glad the viewers really enjoyed it. And so let me go ahead there again, Heart of the Sale at gmail.com. Go ahead. And also Denise Hart on Facebook or YouTube. So take that screenshot as well. And I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have given out fabulous information. So if anybody, if they're in an apartment or they're purchasing the first home, absolutely, or they're in their forever home, they have learned something tonight.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for saying yes and coming into our conversation room tonight. If you could just hold on in the green room for a moment, I'm going to talk to our viewers. Thank you again. If you want to say bye to everyone. Bye. That was awesome. Y'all, did you see her studio? I mean, if your studio looked like that, can you only imagine what she could do for your house? Oh my gosh. Like I just been feeling her vibe. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I've been putting my little stuff. When I get this, I'm gonna work with this person. When I do this, I'm gonna work with that person. Already got it down. So I know that the vibe is going to be exactly like I want it. And sometimes when you're busy, when you're a professional, when you're working hard all the time, you don't want to be able to put everything together yourself. Sometimes you just want to say, hey, this is what I want. And you want to walk in, you want to give yourself your own HGTV moment by hiring her. So she was awesome. Thank you all tonight. If you're a replay viewer, thank you for watching the replay. Go ahead and type in #replay so that I know you were here. If you want to find out more about me, who's Jamila? She's here. She's hosting this show. I had a good time tonight, but what else does this chick do? At the very bottom, you will see my website. It's www.jamilascott.com. You can find out a little bit more about me. If you want to support the platform, I've had many people ask after the broadcast, how can I support you? How can I keep this going? Well, first of all, you can invite people. You can like the page, Conversations with Graciously Me on Facebook. You can share the page. You can also subscribe on YouTube. And like I said earlier, if you're a woman, join the Graciously Me Facebook page. And you can also Cash App. You can Cash App at $ Jamila Scott. Now, let me tell you guys, we have been continuous since last year, and Conversations with Graciously Me is going to take its first break. We are going to be on break next week. It'll be spring break, but you know I wouldn't leave you hanging. So this is a great time to catch up on past shows. Go to that YouTube channel, go to the Facebook page. We're going to be loading on shows that we had when we were not public. This group actually, or this conversation actually started within the group. So there are conversations, there are broadcasts that have not been shown on the public yet. So that would be a great time to go back and catch up on past shows while we are on our spring break next week. And if you have any other questions for me, or you just want to know, hey, I'd like to be on the show, or I have a product that I would like to advertise, just contact me on the website. And before I leave, let's say it together. In a world where you can be anything, always, always, always choose to be who? Yourself, because no one, absolutely positively, no one can beat you at being you. Enjoy your weekend and have a good night.